Good morning. This is Linda Stacy of Living Blueprints, and today is the first day of the Time Finder Challenge. I am here on my way to work, always finding a little time to do this and that. So I'm going to start with planning and blocking time to plan. And how does this have to do with finding more time? Well, when we don't have the right energy, it can be really difficult to use all the time that we have wisely. So I find that planning keeps my anxiety down, and therefore my brain a little more clear, and I'm more able to take advantage of all the time that I do have, because I'm not being drained by the anxiety that comes from not knowing what's on my plate. So blocking time to plan is key. We tend to fill up our calendars with appointments and events, social things, work things, meetings, and that works great. But do we ever preview that calendar a few days out and think about all the things that are required to execute well, whatever those items are on the list? So if you have a meeting, I, for example, will try to print out anything I might need for that meeting, like at the beginning of the day. If I need phone numbers to make calls for meetings, I do that at the beginning of the day. I do as much as I can of that little grunt work right at the start so that I'm ready and so that I can be engaged in whatever work I have on hand. And then when I see that pop up for the reminder, I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, what do I have to do to get ready for that event? So how it works for me, and there are lots of ways to go about this, I have an electronic calendar where all these things are plugged in, and sometime the week prior, usually on a Thursday for me, I'll look out the next week. I look at the weekend and I look at the week out, and I think, I plot, I see what's there and what needs to be done ahead of time. Say I'm going to have people over for dinner on a certain night and I need certain kinds of ingredients that can only come from one store. It's important for me to look out ahead, because if I can do that when I happen to be by that store, that makes much more sense than me having to make an extra trip. And when we have super loaded schedules, this is, in my opinion, a good way to go. Again, it keeps us not feeling so much that we're dragged around by our schedule, but that we're in control of our schedule. It's all about taking the seat of control. So what else do I have here? Another thing that we might have on the calendar is something bigger. Like I have this event on September 23rd that I'm preparing for. So at one point I will sit down, again, I block the time. That's a calendar entry that I'm going to sit down and brainstorm all the things I want to do, or things I need to do to prepare for that workshop. And then I begin to plot that in my calendar around all of those other things, all of the appointments and the scheduled items. So again, I feel like blocking this time a week in advance, and it can even just be 15 minutes to look at your calendar and put some extra things in the calendar. It's totally okay to put a to-do in your calendar, like I'm going to do that Tuesday morning because that's usually a slow time, or something like that. I also like to review at the end of a day. Did I get everything done that I wanted to? It's also a good time to look at your accomplishments. Think, yeah, I got 87% done of what I wanted to. You can also set more realistic expectations for yourself as you go forward in your planning. If you see, okay, this was totally ridiculous that I tried to do all of this today. Also, at the end of the day, I like to note where I am in certain projects so that the next day I can start immediately. I don't waste time trying to think, okay, what am I doing? For years, I was a victim of reacting to email, or I'd let email guide my day, and I don't do that anymore. I have a set of things that I want to accomplish. Yes, email is part of that, but I'm not in a reactive mode. I'm in a proactive mode, and that will totally keep your energy in the right space so that when you get home at the end of the day, you have time to do the things you need to do, so that maybe you can clear up some time for the weekend for bigger things. Too often in our lives, we get home just kind of exhausted, and if we could get a few extra things done on those weeknights in half-hour spurts and open more time for the weekend, I think it's awesome. But it takes some planning and some programming, if you will. Anyway, my next tip is going to come on Tuesday, August 30th. It's going to be how to avoid procrastination, because procrastination can get in the way. It zaps your time as well. For more tips and strategies on how to navigate the day-to-day, follow me on my Facebook private community page. It's Living Blueprints with no E. Ask to be invited, and I will let you in. And I share tips and strategies for how I deal with the day-to-day navigating so that my micro life adds up to something that I want for the macro things in my life. And if you're in the greater Boston area, check out the public workshop that I'm offering at the end of September. Go to livingblueprints.com. Again, blue has no E in it, /public workshops to find out more about that. For now, have a great day. Maybe take 5 minutes today or tomorrow or Sunday to look at what's coming for the next week and do a couple of things to help make that week flow more seamlessly. Bye-bye.